104.5 The Team. We are joined by the voice of UAlbany men's basketball, Zach By. Big game tonight on ESPNU and ESPN3. The UAlbany Great Danes take on Stony Brook. Now, we had the coach on yesterday, Will Brown, and he even made it sound like nobody anywhere was picking UAlbany to win this game.
No, I mean, it's almost a double-digit spread because the Vegas line came out because it's on national TV.
Right.
Typically, they don't have a line. It's a 9-point spread, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's up to 10 by game time. That's how much the odds makers value Stony Brook. I mean, they are the best team in the league. They're picked to win the league. They have the best player in the league, who's a borderline NBA player. They're in their home facility, which is a brand new $19 million palace, which is going to be completely sold out tonight. And they're the heavy favorite, and they're sitting there stewing for a year after last year. There's a lot there's a lot of reasons to pick Stony Brook tonight for sure.
But don't we always pick Stony Brook? Isn't that the narrative of the last 3 seasons? Just Stony Brook's going to run away with it, and then something weird happens on the way to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, exactly right. And it's almost to the point where the regular season banners that are hanging at Stony Brook are a bit embarrassing. And the point is in a one bid league to get to the NCAA tournament, and when you have the player of the year, and you have players of their caliber at Stony Brook and all the resources and well coached, and you win the league title, and then I don't want to use the word choke because I hate that word, but this is an Albany team that the coaches in the league, which know the league the best,
right,
have picked 3 years in a row. They were picked 4th, 3rd, and 3rd. Like, they were picked 2nd this year. That was their highest selection in the past 3 years, and they played an NCAA tournament for 3 consecutive years. So, Stony Brook's going to be the odds-on favorite tonight. But like you said, that is a common theme for years at a stretch now. They're very used to playing the underdog role. Will Brown's embraced that role. He's got the best out of his team. And Albany has won these championships not because they're the most skilled team or have the quote-unquote best players, most talented players. They're just so freaking competitive. They have guys who are willing to put their hands up and fist fight for 12 rounds. And that's why you always give the Danes a chance, because these kids that wear purple and gold,
they're like hitting more free throws than anybody in the country right now.
Yeah, number one. There's about 360 Division I teams, and they're number one in free throws made and attempted. It's incredible. And I always, during the broadcast, and even as a player, when I think back, when I think of toughness stats and to illustrate what I was just talking about with the competition and competitiveness and willingness to fight, I look at free throws attempted, the rebounding margin, and points in the paint.
Yep.
When you're attacking the basket, you're getting fouled. And that's often indicative of how willing you are to fight and to be competitive and to be in attack mode and not sit back and dance, but pursue your opponent. And that, I mean, number one, that's pretty incredible. But they've been top 20 at certain points in all 3 of the last years.
Wow.
So that just speaks to what I was talking about, that attack. It almost reminds me of like street kids. A lot of times when they play suburban teams, you got these like suburban teams who are a little bit, they can dribble through cones and make 100 shots in a row. And then you got these city boys who are like, yeah, let's get it.
Yeah, all of a sudden you're getting an elbow in your chest. Let's see how good you are.
Exactly. And Albany has been that team that, screw you, you're not taking our money. We're going to grind it out. We'll score 47 points if we have to. We'll walk it over half court, but you're going to see us in the NCAA tournament.
Now, going to the paint and defending the paint could be an issue tonight, because apparently Godzilla and King Kong had a baby and he plays for Stony Brook.
That's pretty accurate. This kid, Jameel Warney, is the preseason player of the year. He's the reigning player of the year 2 times over. Rarely do you see a kid as a sophomore be the player of the year. This kid had a Big Ten offer from Fran McCaffrey, who our Capital Region fans know well. He was a coach at Siena, had some of their best teams ever, if not the best teams ever. And he offered him at Iowa and said, come out and play in the Big Ten. But because Stony Brook had been recruiting him the hardest, the longest, he wanted to stay loyal to that decision and his verbal commitment, and ended up following through. And it's paid dividends in terms of regular season championships and adulation for this kid. He had a 2-page spread in the New York Post, and they refer to him as an NBA prospect. Me, myself, personally, while doing a game last year against Stony Brook, sat next to a gentleman by the name of Rob Jackson, who used to coach around here at Siena as an assistant, but is now a Spurs scout. So it's very real that the possibility. Jeff Goodman, who's a national ESPN college, he tweeted out last year. It was very simple. He said, "There is not a team in the country that Jameel Warney couldn't help. People think highly of this kid. He just is lacking one thing of his resume. That's playing on the biggest stage.
Yeah, thanks to Will Brown and his guys.
That's right.
That's insane. All right, so was it like he wanted to be a big fish in a small pond, or is it all loyalty?
I don't know for sure, and I don't want to say conclusively one way or another. I just know that this kid, raw talent-wise, you just look at him as face value, 6'8", can finish with either hand around the hoop. He is an unbelievable passer. Last year, he led Division I basketball in double-doubles. He's leading the nation in rebounding. I mean, you could go on and on.
Right.
The kid's vision, his IQ for the game is a reason why he's going to get a shot at the next level, because there's a lot of guys with his tangibles and measurements, but this guy sees defenses. He sees things develop. He's got court vision. He's ambidextrous around the hoop. He's just a tremendous player, and it's a tall chore to try to stop him, along with the supporting cast, because the players around him are great, and they're all league players.
So next year we're going to have Will Tye from Stony Brook playing tight end for the Giants,
right?
And this kid is going to be in the pros for the NBA somewhere.
You know what? She's going to get a shot. I'm not willing to say, because that league is the most exclusive in the world. There's only 12 roster spots per team.
Right.
It's not like NFL. You got 70 guys or 53 on the active man, but practice squad, things like that.
Right. You can weasel your way in a little bit.
There's 300 NBA players. To be one of those, I'm not going to say that yet, but he's going to get a shot in the summer league and things like that.
Wow. All right. So no way UAlbany can win tonight. Is what it's. I mean, that's what it sounds like. Like, I can understand why Coach Brown is on here going, nobody's picking us.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'll pick you. I don't know anything.
Well, you know what? It's one thing to hear Will, because he'll say that going against Maine, because he wants to fire his guys up, and that's just his
Colony
his
High School. Nah, we don't stand a chance.
Right. But I put more credence to what the guys who get paid to put odds on games.
Right.
Out in Vegas, they think that Stony Brook is a 9-point favorite, 9 points better. I think that's a little disrespectful to a team that's, knocked them off 2 of the last 3 years and played in the tournament 2 of the last 3 years. And even if you think back to last year's game in the championship, CEFCU Arena, sold out crowd. This is an unbelievable stat I'm about to give you.
Okay.
The only time that Albany ever led in that game, it's almost statistically impossible, is when there was double zeros on the clock.
Yeah.
That's the only time. Stony Brook led wire to wire.
Yeah.
Peter Hooley, gets an angel down from heaven. They hit a shot. I mean, I remember this scene. Stony Brook had about 1,000 tickets or whatever, right?
Yep.
And they had started to pack the walkways in between the stands so they could rush the floor. I mean, it was that imminent. Stony Brook was going to win.
But instead, we rushed the floor. I was actually out there.
I remember you being out there. It was a transcendent moment. I'm almost getting goosebumps talking about it now, because it was bigger than sports. It felt bigger than sports.
Well, because of Hooley and his journey. And
people forget his mother died. He missed the majority of the season, and definitely the majority of the conference season. And then he comes back and played for like 2 weeks, came off the bench, and here he is in the championship game with no time left, heaving this thing towards the sky. Yeah. It goes in. It was just...
And he was missing threes all day.
Yes.
All day.
Yes.
But that one... in.
And you look at the score, I mean, it was an ugly game to watch. It was like, I don't remember the exact score, but it was in the 50s.
Yeah, it was low.
And to have a 3 go in with zeros on the clock, that's the only time they led. It was, if you're a fan of Stony Brook, or you're those players, or you're the head coach, Steve Peichel, I mean, how sick are you?
Yeah.
How sick?
It's a big game. It's a big game tonight.
It is. It's not the end all be all. I think it's bigger for those guys than it is for anyone else, because they need to at least try to even the score with Albany.
So if UAlbany loses, it's not the end of the world.
Definitely not.
But if Stony Brook loses, it's just one more time that UAlbany should have got beat, that they beat them down.
And that's become the narrative. Exactly. It's like, if Stony Brook wins, it's like, okay, you're supposed to win. Stony Brook's a regular season team. You'll probably win the regular season. Let's see what happens in late February.
Love it. Zach Bye, he's going to be covering that game for you tonight. UAlbany Great Danes, Stony Brook Seawolves. It's 9-point dogs for the Great Danes.
How about that?
I mean, I might have to make a little call to Vegas.
Yeah, you might have to take those points.
I may have to figure something out with that.
All right. If you need a guy, let me know.
All right. I got a guy. You got a guy? All right, we got a guy. Thanks so much for coming in, Zach.
Appreciate you having me on.